Hey everyone, slightly different start to today's show. So, peek behind the curtain. We recorded today's show, the one that you are currently listening to. It came on Thursday. We recorded on Wednesday, partly because the IPA is launching a bunch of new podcasts in coming weeks. I'll get back to that later. So we had to record on Wednesday. There are so many references in the show to me hoping that Michael Bloomberg stays in the presidential race, and last night he withdrew.
I just want to know that you're okay, James. I don't mind about having to do this little bit.
I am going through the motions of today. My heart is not in it. My heart lies in American Samoa with Michael Bloomberg's people.
I think they should secede.
They should secede. Michael Bloomberg should be king. So, but because it was fun and because, it's still hopefully a good show. I don't know. We're going to keep the rest of the show as it is. We just wanted to mention up top, we do know Bloomberg has dropped out. We're not that stupid. We might be that stupid. We are that stupid, but on this particular case, we are not that stupid. We do know Bloomberg has dropped out. Now, the podcasts, a lot of them, one podcast I want to talk about in particular, launching this weekend, is the behavioural awareness officers. And Pete and I are very excited about this one because it's another podcast from us, and it is talking about footy.
It's talking about footy. We absolutely love it. It's going to be mostly footy with a little bit of, I guess you might call footy politics. That's why it's called behavioural awareness officers.
Yeah, like behavioural awareness officers, crowd control, all the rounds that are now a thing. So that's the kind of stuff we'll be talking about.
It's going to be rad.
As well as footy. A few guests as well.
That's right.
We're going to be talking to a few local footy legends as well. So behavioural awareness officers, by the time you hear this, it should be... Pete just pointed outside the studio and I was like, what am I looking at?
I was just going to say it's out Monday mornings,
Sunday nights, Monday mornings, whenever you want. Good point. And so they'll be in every round. So behavioural awareness officers out on Spotify, out on iTunes, or it should be in the next couple of days. We'll be talking about it a lot on Yippa in weeks to come. Listen to that if you like footy and you like us. Would be my thing. And anything else?
Gloria Alvarez.
Gloria Alvarez tour in Australia. Coming in this month. Going to be in Perth, going to be in Melbourne, going to be in Brisbane, going to be in Sydney. Go to generationlibertyipa.org.au for tickets. You cannot miss this. It is going to be awesome. They're all free as well, but you do have to register because they will sell out. But you get yourself a ticket, come down. Gloria Alvarez is the best. I demand you go.
You have to do it.
All right, sweet. So, rest of the show starts right now.
Did you see the stylish?
Welcome to the Young IPA podcast. I'm James. This is Pete.
G'day, everyone.
It is episode 148. Don't know what just happened to me there. It is the 5th of March. We have a great show for you guys coming up. We're going to be talking once again to Renee Gorman, the national manager of Generation Liberty.
Yeah, twice in 3 weeks.
Big, yes. And we'd only do this in big circumstances, which this week is. So Renee is going to be filling us in on why Generation Liberty has lodged a claim with the Queensland Human Rights Council, which sounds technical legalese, but this is huge. We're going to be talking about what the process is for taking QUT to the Human Rights Council, what that means for campus free speech, and some more stories of liberty-minded student groups being kicked off campus here in Melbourne. Pretty crazy week for universities in general. I know O Week's happening and everyone's sort of just putting in the effort of just going like, how do we stop kids not agreeing with, how do we stop kids do anything else other than agree with socialism? And the uni brought their A game this year, I would say. They've really tried hard, but the IPA and Generation Liberty fighting back.
Yeah, tune in for that one. It's a really good one.
We also got Media Watch. The IPA was on Media Watch this week. Super Tuesday results. Albanese flipped the bird to someone. Anything you're looking forward to, Pete?
Well, I'm looking forward to Albanese flipping the bird, but also Mike Bloomberg. He's the gift that keeps on giving, and the reason I like him is because he makes you so happy.
He does. If he drops out of the campaign, I might have to go home early. Whatever day that is. Like, that is a day of mourning.
Take some time.
I might take some bereavement leave if Michael Bloomberg drops out.
Nothing brings joy more to James Bolt than Michael Bloomberg.
He just
antics.
Sucks in so many different ways, and it's fantastic. Anyway, let's talk about Media Watch this week, Pete, and tell us what happened.
Okay, well, last week, Evan Mulholland told us here on the Young IPA podcast that the IPA had done a poll saying only 32% of Australians think the ABC represents the views of ordinary Australians. We did it. Thank you very much. Now, this was picked up by Media Watch, the show that aims to hold the rest of the media to account, because only the ABC can provide us with unbiased analysis. Anyway, Media Watch interviewed a polling expert. Roll the tape, please, Saul.
And now to Poll of the Week, which is really bad news for me and our viewers, because it proves that we need to be privatised.
Now, there you go. Now, Media Watch went on to interview polling expert Professor Emeritus Murray Goot, who said our question was biased, James, and said that's what got the results. Now, mate, Murray, 1/3 of Australians didn't think the ABC represented their views. What magical, manipulative question do you think Evan Mulholland came up with that made 2/3 of Australians not get that?
Is the ABC evil?
Yeah, exactly.
That's a leading question.
Yeah, no, exactly right. And so, because
Is ABC Media Watch hosted by the smuggest person in Australia? Another leading question. Not saying we should ask it. I'm just saying that would be an example, hypothetically, of a leading question.
We like to play the issue here at the IPA, James, not the man. Anyway, so they need to get 100% for the ABC because they're privatised. Anyway, because they're a public thing. So Evan Mulholland released a video the next day. He got to work straight away, and that you can see on our YouTube and our Facebook and stuff like that, rebutting the claims of Media Watch. Saul, roll the tape, please, mate.
But Paul Barry seems to have a very new problem with supposedly not neutral polls. Just weeks ago, Barry gleefully promoted this poll.
There's no doubt that climate change activists across the world think the fires should be a tipping point, and many Australians agree.
So there you have it. That's a poll from the Australia Institute, which is clearly not to his standards of neutrality. There's a few more from that image, which you wouldn't have seen if you were listening. It says, this is a wake-up of questions the Australia Institute asked people. This is a wake-up call for the world on the impacts of climate change.
Leading question.
Climate change is making bushfires worse.
Leading question.
The current bushfires demonstrate the cost of climate inaction.
And I had another one here. Mining and burning coal makes bushfires worse. Neutral?
I don't think so. We're going to sink into the depths of hell unless we make Greta Thunberg our all-powerful overlord.
That was an interesting question that they definitely added.
I might have made that one up, but there you go. So, any old poll they're going to be happy to talk about any old poll, but once it attacks the gravy chain on which they all rely, all of a sudden, it's got to be scientific and, neutral and things like that.
Yeah, that's right. And you can check that video out on the IPA's YouTube page. It's also on our website and Facebook page. The other part of this for me is Paul Barry then goes on to say, the quote from the end of the show, the IPA might like to know that Media Watch won its time slot last week with record ratings. As far as we know, most of our 1.1 million viewers were ordinary Australians. It's always weird to me when the ABC play the ratings game because either way, it's just an argument for privatization. You can either say like, hey, look at us, 1.1 million viewers, these are record ratings, to which I would say, awesome, you can exist on a free market. People tune in. This is awesome. Like, you don't need my money anymore. And then if you go the other way of like, oh, we need the ABC because otherwise these shows wouldn't come to air because no one watches them, then why do I have to pay for them if no one watches them? Like, who's being helped there?
Exactly right. That's exactly right, James. And Evan also goes on to say in the video, he says they introduces the IPA as a libertarian free market think tank. But when they were talking about the Australian Institute poll, they said that the poll was from the Australia Institute without any sort of commentary on what kind of position they took up on the political spectrum. So settle down, Paul. There's no need to have a tanty. 1/3 of people voted for the Greens and Labor in the election. So, of course, 1/3 of people think the ABC is great. I could have done this. Evan didn't even need to spend the money on the poll. I could have told him what the results were going to be. Evan, think about that next time.
That's how we save some money. We just ask Pete.
Exactly right.
We go to Pete's desk. We just say, Pete, what's your view?
I'm neutral.
The man of Australia. You speak for all Australians, I would say.
Yeah, all of them. Every single one of them.
Every last one. All right, so
check out the video.
Yeah, check out the video. We'll move on. Super Tuesday.
Yeah.
Over in America, the Democratic race is narrowing. I mean, we've got a lot to catch up on here from last week. It's, last week seems like a mile away. Like last week, Joe Biden was dead in the water, and now Joe Mensom is back. I hated the word when I heard it, but now every time I see it, I'm like, yeah, Joe Mensom, it works.
Well, I thought you invented that because you've been saying that a bit.
I've been saying blue Mensom, and I'll get to why. So Joe Mensom, it's real. Amy Klobuchar, Pete Buttigieg, they're out of the race. They've been told to bend the knee by the Democratic establishment. I just like it because there's a long way to go. I think Joe Biden's going to get it. I don't think anyone's going to get enough for it to be like a clear majority. It's going to be a contested convention, but someone's going to get it, and it's not going to be Pete or Amy. And what I like is that the Democratic Party, they get plastered in 2016. Well, not plastered, but like a word
they lost.
synonymous. A word synonymous to what I'm trying to say, which is they lost badly in 2016. They spent 4 years going like, all right, the winds have changed. We need to renew the party. We need to bring in a new, fresh face. We are the party of the young. We are a party of the diverse. We are a party of these things. And then we get to Super Tuesday and it's like, please select one of the following old white people.
You have
rich, Biden,
old
Bloomberg, or Elizabeth Warren.
Yeah.
The youngest is 70 of those three.
Yeah, no, exactly
Grim.
right. Yeah, exactly right. And as you mentioned, I don't know, you didn't mention Elizabeth Warren lost her own seat or lost her own state.
Yeah, which is embarrassing.
And Donald Trump, who's apparently likes to get on Twitter, said Elizabeth Warren, other than Mini Mike, was the loser of the night. She didn't even come close to winning her home seat of Massachusetts. Well, now she can sit back with her husband and have a nice cold beer.
Yeah, if you don't know what that is referring to, I don't know what you need to search to find it,
Well,
but you need to see the video that they made. This is like early days of the Warren campaign. This is a video. I think if you just typed in like Elizabeth Warren in her kitchen with her husband,
it'll come up.
Yeah, it just like, it's the worst video I've ever seen. And I'm so glad that a year and a half later it's still getting shout outs. But it's just like, I'm about to have a nice cold beer with my husband, who then walks in and Elizabeth Warren proceeds to slap him on the butt no less than 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah.
That is a bit excessive.
Over the course of the entire video. It is something to behold. So go watch that.
Yeah. So I think we talked about it on the show, so I'm sure everyone's seen it.
Yes. But we have a lot of new listeners.
That's
the ratings
true.
have been going a fair bit up recently. All right. Other thing I want to talk about. Yeah, Blumentum. All right. It's back.
Yeah.
Michael Bloomberg, we laugh at him. You can say a lot of things about Michael Bloomberg. You can say he's not popular. You can say he's a robot. You can say he has absolutely no friends. But you cannot say he's not popular in American Samoa because he did win American Samoa. So score that one up for Bloomberg.
That's exactly right. I didn't realise that was part of America until recently.
Yeah, it's hidden in the name slightly. American Samoa.
Well, I thought it was part of Samoa, didn't I? So there you go. But he's big there.
All right,
And he
he's
won.
huge. All right, don't walk into American Samoa sledging the good name of Bloomberg because people will fight back.
What? Hang on. How did he win that?
I don't know. I think it's just.
There's like 12 people there.
Well, I
12
heard
Democrats.
I was watching the CNN panel on it today, and I heard that there were 7 people employed in American Samoa working on Bloomberg's campaign, which is far more than anyone else, which just shows what we've known from the start, which is Bloomberg just wrote a big fat campaign donation check and all of his people are going to go, how do we spend this money?
Yeah.
And suddenly 7 people get hired in American Samoa.
And it largely hasn't worked, but it definitely worked there.
Works in American Samoa. All right, let's move on to the Foreign Influence Transparency Scheme. There is an update.
Well, I'm going to mark this down as a policy win for the Young IPA podcast and the IPA more broadly, and then also question whether it is a policy win.
I was going to say, I don't know if this is a policy win.
We'll get to that at the end. I kind of want to have it both ways. Anyway, we broke this story on the Young IPA podcast, the Foreign Influence Transparency Scheme, where the government was harassing Conservatives Tony Abbott and Liberty Works organiser and LDP President Andrew Cooper at the behest of Shadow Attorney General Mark Dreyfus. Of course, the scheme was introduced to tackle nefarious foreign influence in Australia, but instead it was used as a political tool to go after Conservatives. Now, Attorney General Christian Porter this week has replaced the entire FITS, that's the acronym, leadership team, called in corporate regulators, ASIC and the ACCC to assist, and hired a former assistant ombudsman, Autumn O'Keefe, to head up the organisation. So he's done other stuff there as well. What he hasn't done, James, is rewrite the legislation.
Which is why I don't think it's a policy win, because you can just like replace the team that investigated Tony Abbott for being a foreign agent.
Yeah.
But like, as long as the law's there, there's going to be other teams. This isn't the team for the rest of time.
That's exactly right. And we would be just as upset with this if they were using it to go after Labor people.
Oh, for sure. But it's just like, I get the idea of like, hey, we don't want foreign governments interfering with Australian elections, but this is not the law to do it in if it also goes like, yeah, but what about Tony Abbott? Let's also get him.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from, but I think there's a part of changing Australia, let's say, that is just firing the whole bureaucracy.
Yeah.
But
it's replaced with another bureaucracy.
Yeah, I know, but part of getting it across the line is getting your good people that like you in.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying it's partial.
But then when the Liberals lose an election,
then Labor just gets them in.
And then Labor gets their people in.
Yeah.
And they might be good, but also they might be bad. And this was happening under a Liberal government as well. So we can't even trust like that.
It's Liberal legislation.
It's like, I don't know. Until the law changes, this isn't a win, but it's good to know that some progress is being made, even if it is very slight.
Yep.
Very slight.
So, partial victory to us.
I'm notoriously negative with these things,
If
but
Andrew-
I see where you're coming from.
If Andrew Cooper hadn't said that on this program and then reported widely in the Australian, this wouldn't have happened.
Yes. IPA breaking news.
Okay.
Young IPA podcast breaking news. Let's go to the heroes and villains segment. So we'll start off with Grunt the Pig. Grunt the Pig, yep.
There he goes.
Without fear or favour, Saul Muscatel will play that big. All right, that is a snort of freedom. That is a snort we give out to people that have stood up for freedom and liberty around the world somewhere this week. Pete, who is your hero of the week?
Well, we're non-partisan here at the IPA, James. We're going to give heroes where and wherever they're deserved.
Yep.
Anthony Albanese, leader of the opposition, was at the gay and lesbian Mardi Gras in Sydney over the weekend. He copped a bit of abuse from a section of the crowd. They were Socialist Alliance protesters. They were chanting 1, 2, 3, F the ALP. But, James, they weren't saying F, they were saying the full swear word that you know what I'm talking about.
Fridge.
So just said that bit.
Fajita.
To which Anthony Albanese was filmed turning and flipping the bird at them. So for those watching, you can see it on the screen now. It's a very grainy image, but that's just
That is unmistakably the bird.
That is.
There's grainy as it may be. Yeah, that's a bird.
That is a bird. The bird. Apparently, they asked the opposition leader's office if he was doing 2 fingers or 1 finger. I think the image shows it was 1 finger, but
the correct way.
I'm glad that they went up to clarify. Who says journalism's dead? And I just think there should be more bird flipping in Australian politics. I'm giving Albanese Hero of the Week.
Yeah, it's the kind of stuff that definitely, the Labor loses their traditional heartland last election. This is the kind of stuff that wins them back.
It's probably in their review.
Just human. Yeah. Albanese, it's like his KPI. This year you're flipping the bird 3 times.
More
right?
birds.
Knocked off 1. We need 2 more by the end of the year.
2 more, that's hard. No, so good on you, Anthony.
All right, sweet. My hero this week. Okay, so Gloria Alvarez, the tour is happening. Probably should have mentioned that at the start of the show, but we didn't. But we're going to mention it now. So Gloria Alvarez is my hero this week. I cannot stress enough how much you need to go to this tour. So the Generation Liberty is hosting her. I'm going to read out the dates. University of Western Australia on the 11th of March, University of Notre Dame on the 12th of March, over to Victoria at the University of Melbourne 17th of March, Queensland, University of Queensland 18th of March, then down in New South Wales, the University of Sydney on the 19th of March and Campion College on the 20th of March. Gloria Alvarez is such an awesome speaker. I was watching speeches of her. I've been watching speeches of her all week. Here's a little clip which I liked, which you might like. It's her talking about how the free market's going to help the world's poor.
So if the Europeans want to save Africa, cut the crap. At least stop the aid and let us work. And if they don't want us here, at least let the free market happen, because the European Union does this not only with Africa, but also with Latin America. It's impossible, right, for us to work.
I mean, that's exactly the kind of message we need being brought out there. And Gloria Alvarez is like this young Hurricane Gloria, I guess is what the name is. But she's this force coming out of South America, coming into Australia. Get yourself some tickets now. It's going to be unmissable.
That's exactly right. I should point out the tickets are free, but you will have to register because you'll sell out. So
okay.
Register for a ticket.
GenerationLibertyIPA.org.au. Get there, get your tickets, or I'm going to be mad at you. I will.
We'll be talking to Gloria on the Young IPA podcast.
We will indeed. All right, sweet. So, now I'm still refused to endorse what we do for villains. So, Pete, over to you.
Well, the Extinction Rebellion had a fake nudie run back in October, and I think that's just a disgrace. Saul, run the tape, please, mate.
As Extinction Rebellion protests enter their 6th day.
Now, that, for those listening, is a group of people not quite in the nude saying they're doing a nudie run. So, they're the award we give for standing against freedom every week. James, you go first, mate.
All right, so my villain of the week. Now, from a classical liberal or libertarian perspective, the government only needs to provide services when there is a market failure, when there's no capitalist way that you can encourage a business to start up.
Tell me more.
You get what I'm saying?
I get what
you're saying. Sorry, like defense would be a thing that the government can do because there's not really a good capitalist reason for there to be defense. Yeah. Roads, I know I'm lost a lot of libertarian listeners. I'm sorry. Roads, another one. NBN? No, I reckon the private market can work with the internet. But I'll tell you the one thing the private market can do, as you write that down, is provide people with coffee. Taxpayers were charged $390,000 to upgrade a coffee cart in the press gallery of the federal parliament because it is run by the department.
Really?
Yes. $390,000 of taxpayer money to get people coffee.
So that's just not some contractor who's got a lease in Parliament House.
So in federal parliament, there are 4 coffee places. One privately run cafe called Aussies. Therefore, I'm only ever going to go to Aussies. I encourage everyone else in Canberra to go to Aussies. Yeah. And 3 are run by the department. The Queen's Terrace Cafe, the Staff Cafeteria, and the Press Gallery Coffee Cart. Now, the Press Gallery Coffee Cart is the one that just got $390,000 of taxpayer money to provide coffees better.
I did not realise that such socialism was at the heart of the government.
Really?
Of this country. Like I did, but I thought it was more metaphorical than that.
Yes. Well, that's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? $390,000. You're telling me there's not a single place in the world that looks at political staffers and goes, I reckon they drink coffee. Yeah. I reckon I can sell it to them.
15 coffees a day for those people. So that's an outrage, James.
All right, sweet. That is my villain of the week. That is disgusting.
Well, that's a good one, mate. My villain of the week are a group of 3 left-wing protesters who momentarily stormed the Start again. Momentarily stalled the coalition float at the Mardi Gras. I've been talking about the Mardi Gras a bit. They were protesting 250 years of colonisation, because that feels like the right thing to do at the Mardi Gras, is to take the focus off the gay community and talk about something else. So well done, guys. Journalist Lydia Feng posted a video that she said showed people booing the Liberal Party float as it made its way along. Except the video she posted didn't actually seem to have any booing.
I did not hear a lot of booing. So I'm not the only one that didn't hear booing?
No, a few people in the comments were like, but where's the booing?
Yeah.
So for trying to claim that's a thing, that's part of my villain of the week. But the main thing about my villain of the week is this idea that the coalition are somehow the enemy of gay people. Let me run you through a few facts, James. The coalition legalised gay marriage in this country. That is a fact. The ALP were in power for 6 long years between 2007 and 2013. 2013, did they legalise gay marriage? No, they didn't.
Correct question without notice,
Yeah,
if I
go
will.
on.
Did Penny Wong once describe marriage as between a man and a woman?
She did. Paul Keating, line of the left, said 2 blokes and a cocker spaniel don't make a family. That never seems to get included in those lists of Paul Keating quotes.
Yeah, that's not like "do you slowly," which I maintain is the most overrated quote in Australian political history.
I want to do you slowly. Yeah,
well
not
done.
bad.
That's 20 years of retweets.
Yeah. Well, they never include the one about the cocker spaniel.
I've never heard that one before. That is atrocious. That is so bad.
I've got a lot more. Julia Gillard, Kevin Rudd, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. What do they all have in common? They all oppose gay marriage at various points in their career. Now, if you want to really trigger your lefty mates, tell them this fact, James. The first president to enter office in the United States in support or in favour of gay marriage was...
William Taft.
Not quite. Good guess, but not quite. President Donald Trump, the first to enter office supporting gay marriage. The gay marriage plebiscite, only 5 coalition seats voted no, 11 ALP seats voted no. Anyone who's hung around politics for a while will know there are more gay Tories than you can poke a stick at. That's because our side of politics...
I don't know why you would feel the need to, but...
So our side of politics focuses on individuality, individual expression, freedom of expression, the idea that we can all pursue our own destiny. Of course, that's more... what's the word? What is the word? More attractive to the gay community compared to the other side of politics who are, one size fits all. We've all got to do this, think the same, we've all got to look the same. So this idea that the coalition is somehow the enemy of the gay community is a disgrace.
My other point is, if you are bringing a political bugbear to Mardi Gras, then I do not like you as a person. Like, I just, like, that is a celebration. It is just people having a good time. Yeah. And suddenly everything's, all right, everyone stop the float, stop everything that's going on.
Here's my brave stand.
We got an anti-colonialist taking the floor. So everyone just stop dancing, stop it. Let's just hear what this person has to say.
Yeah.
Like, I hate those people.
Yeah. So, well, they're my villain this week.
Very good. All right, let us go to our interview with Renee Gorman. Okay, we now welcome back onto the show Renee Gorman, National Manager of Generation Liberty. It's been a long 2 weeks since you've been on the show. We've missed you terribly, so welcome back.
I've missed you too.
All right, very cool.
She just keeps having big weeks.
She does. So, well, that's why we wanted to bring you on, because this is, I would say, unprecedented in IPA history. I don't know if we've ever done anything like this before, but the Generation Liberty has lodged a claim with the Queensland Human Rights Council. Now, why?
So you may have heard that Generation Liberty has had some problems with the QUT Guild. We requested to have a stall at Market Day. The Market Day is for external groups. We never claimed to be a student group. We were an external group that wanted to reach out to students. After we put in our application, we received an email that we were not able to have a stall because our brand didn't align with their values. We asked further questions and we got further confirmation that the reason why we weren't allowed to stall at Market Day was because our brand does not align with their values. And under Queensland discrimination laws, you're not allowed to discriminate on someone on the basis of political belief. So we think that that falls underneath that category, and we believe that we need to fight obvious examples like this case because Generation Liberty may have the power to push through stuff like this, but we need to do it for every single student who gets discriminated against because they're not left-wing. We need to do it for every kid out there that struggles with this every day. This is bigger than a stall. It's about our fight against the censorship of ideas that happens on campus every single day.
Now, what is the process for lodging a claim with the Human Rights Council? Because, as far as I understood it, it used to be you just waited idly by in your home until Tim Sudamasan saw something on Twitter he didn't like, and then you were told to complain. But now that he's gone, I don't know what the process is.
Well, Morgan, our wonderful legal expertise in the office, has been going through the claim and filling out that form, and then we've sent it in. And from what I know, we have 28 days to wait before the Human Rights Commission has to get back to us. But we have, done the honourable thing, I believe, by letting the QUT Guild know straight away that we've made this claim, unlike certain cases in the past where people have been left in the dark that there's been a complaint made about them.
Yeah, for like 2 years or whatever that was. Yeah, just like for people that don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to. Well, it was just like the 18C at QUT cases where kids were left in the dark for 2 years on whether or not they were like it's something to answer for.
That's right. Now, how have things got to this point, Renee, for the IPA to go to one of these bodies that are located around Australia? Things must be pretty grim. How have things got to this point?
Yeah, well, so, we've gone back and forth on these because, the IPA generally doesn't believe that these laws are a good thing. But our thought was, if the federal government's not going to step in, if no one's going to step in and stop what's happening on campus, stop the censorship of ideas, then this was our last resort and we had to do it. And, the left actually believes these laws should exist, and probably the Guild believes these laws should exist. Then they should abide by these laws, and this is an obvious example of political discrimination.
I'm glad you raised that about the fact that the IPA thinks maybe a lot of these bodies shouldn't exist and things like that. Was that an internal discussion that you had with Morgan and other people, or something that you talked about a lot? Because I'm sure a lot of our listeners are thinking, you guys don't think this should exist. What was the discussion around that?
Yeah, I had a lot of talks with Morgan about it, and also Chris Decker himself, because he is a very strong libertarian and is about reducing the size of government as much as possible. I just think it is a case where we have to, if there was no other option available to us, we couldn't just let this happen again and again and again. We need to be fighting because there are other kids that don't have the opportunity to do this, like single individuals who get discriminated against, who stay quiet, and we need to say, we'll fight for you. And
also, I guess the university isn't really like a private body that is, can discriminate. It's a publicly funded body.
Yeah, that's a really important point, is that especially the Guild, the QUT Student Guild, is funded by compulsory fees called SAF, which every student has to pay, $308 roughly to every student every year. So if they are going to be funded by compulsory fees but from the students, and then also billions of dollars from taxpayers, then they need to be a forum of open discussion and open learning. And also their decisions have to be transparent. They can't just say your brand does not align with our values. They still haven't told us what those values are and how we don't align. You need to make your decision-making transparent for the student body to know what you're doing.
Now, one thing I've been really noticing is this has gone very public in the media. Like a lot of people in the media are talking about it. It was on page 5 of The Australian today. It was commented on Paul Murray Live and Hardgrave last night. I can't remember the exact words of the Hardgrave quote, but he did have something very nice to say about Renee. So, you can name drop now. You're not bringing it up. It's me bringing it up. I just can't remember the names. But what did Gary Hardgrave say?
I think that the reason the QUT Guild wasn't allowing Generation Liberty on campus was because they were scared of an intelligent, strong woman like Renee Gorman.
There we go.
She's actually made it a
ringtone. Co-sign on that one. But let's talk about, so what does the media coverage of this tell you? Like the fact that this is when it happened, it was in the Australian, it was in the Australian again. Like people seem to really care about free speech on campus.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone cares about this because they see universities as, they're the training grounds for our future politicians in a lot of ways. A lot of the people who run student guilds eventually go on to work in politics. So I think they believe that they should be squares of open learning. They should be exposed to all ideas. And I think they're getting really sick of so many cases of obvious discrimination against kids who aren't left-wing, conservative or libertarian or classical liberal, and nothing gets done. The government doesn't do anything. The administrations don't do anything. And I think in this case, they're really happy to see someone willing to take the fight to them.
And I reckon a lot of universities are a huge battleground, and older people and middle-aged people recognise that because, it's hard to convince someone who's 40 or 50 to change their views about the environment or whatever. But at secondary school and at universities, that's when people are forming their opinions about these things. So I reckon heaps of people see these kind of battles as really important.
And the whole thing is Generation Liberty and, the IPA, we don't want, the left to be off campus we're fine with the socialist clubs having their millions of events and covering the university and posters, but it's when they're trying to stop other ideas on campus that's what you've got a problem.
Now, when we talk about, so there's O weeks and there's market days that are happening all across this country and people are signing up to Generation Liberty. Well, one thing I've noticed in, when we talk about the results of the membership campaign is, in Queensland, we're doing very well. And it does seem to be that students in Queensland are sick of it themselves. They're just like, you know what, if this thing is getting booted off campus and I don't want these things booted off campus, I'm going to support.
Yeah, we've had an absolutely overwhelming result in Queensland. So Mitchell, our campus coordinator at the University of Queensland, actually called me on the day of his O Week when he had his stall to say, Renee, we're doing really well, but I think I might run out of stuff. There's only so much stuff I can give out. So we had over 60 people sign up in a day. So Queensland seems to be really behind this, and Queensland young people seem to be behind this. That number keeps going up, and I think it's because they really get it. They understand that this QUT guild issue is about more than a stall. It's about the continuous discrimination that certain students face at universities.
So those tote bags were really popular?
Yeah, the Eleanor tote bags were very popular.
Can I ask, where's Eleanor today? Is she cut sick up in Queensland or something? Where is she?
Oh, no, she's gone up Queensland. She's got to go, fight the QUT Guild. She's making her way up there now.
For new listeners, Eleanor being the mascot of Generation Liberty, the Don't Tread on Eleanor
the Echidna.
Yeah. Eleanor the Echidna, yeah. All right, so back home in Victoria, another student group has been kicked off campus as well, the Victorian Liberal Students Association.
Yep.
I've got that right. Victorian Liberal Student Association. Don't know what else it would have been. But surprise, surprise, it's a group on our side of politics and they get kicked off campus. So what happened on this one?
So interestingly, I was actually there on the day and I did a little experiment and walked around to all the socialist groups that had set up tables. So there was, set up areas for affiliated clubs where they should be, but then there was just random, 50-year-old socialists who had set up tables all over the university.
They're called mature age students and they are the lifeblood of a university.
They haven't finished their PhD yet.
So I went up to them and I pretended I was interested and I'm just like, hey, my club would like to set up a table sometime. Did you have to, pay to be here or get permission or fill out any forms? They're like, no, we just set up. It's fine. And then I went and talked to another guy and I said, oh, so you just set up a table? He's like, yeah, you should do it too, man. Fight the neoliberal university. If they have a problem with your table, come talk to me.
Oh, well, I was like, let's get that guy on the show. Let's get his 2 cents about it.
You guys should set up there one day. This is what happens. So I was like, okay, this seems a bit weird. Certain rules apply to some and certain rules don't apply to others. And then I went and saw that VLSA, which is made up of genuine students, all at Melbourne University, out the front of the uni with all their banners packed up because they got kicked out. And then they tried to go back as just private citizens, as students of the university, just to hand out pamphlets, and they got kicked out again. So it seemed like a massive double standard that was happening there on the day.
Have they considered growing dreadlocks and removing footwear and smelling? Just to sort of throw people off. Maybe you just need to look like you're a socialist and then you just slide them a Liberal Student Association pamphlet.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to do that to Charlotte. She's a very well put together young lady. I don't want her to lower herself to that.
All right, well, I'm still on the table with dreadlocks. But what I don't get is that if you are a university administrator and you're a socialist, then the one thing
Does that person exist, James? I'm not sure.
I think there's 2 of them in the country.
Okay.
But the point I'm trying to make is if you're one of those, and you don't want attention given to Generation Liberty or you don't want attention given to the Victorian Liberal Students Association, the best thing you can do for your case is nothing, because just let them have their stall. But the second you kick them off, suddenly it's in the Australian, suddenly it's on Sky News, suddenly people at the student around the campus are talking about it, and we get all these members at a different university in Queensland from people that want to sign up. So I don't get why they do the things that they do.
I don't think they're used to us fighting back as we have been as much as in the last few years. I think they've been getting away with this for a very long time and sweeping it under the rug. And it's only since Generation Liberty and new groups are starting to point it out, they're like, oh, our tactics aren't working anymore. Also, I think you're assuming a too large amount of intelligence.
I assume they're able to play 2D chess before they start playing 3D chess.
Yes.
So you mentioned with the case before the body, that's going to take how long did you say?
We got to wait 28 days.
28 days, okay. So that's the next thing. We'll get you on next time about that.
Yes, that sounds
Another
good.
2 weeks. All right, so Renee, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
And yeah, keep up the good work.
Cheers.
Okay, we've got another round of the quiz coming up right now. We have got a loaded, intelligent, and good-looking panel. I'll say it.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
yeah, they're about to come in. Thanks for
It's
sitting
obviously
in.
a different panel.
yeah. Thanks for sitting in while we got the camera angle set up. But,
Wait, did
we'll
you
get the real
say
people in.
loaded, intelligent, and good-looking in that order, or is it traits to all three?
You know what? I'll decide at the end of the round based on how you guys perform who was what. All right, so we got Director of Policy Gideon Rosner. We got Research Fellow Andrew Bushnell, Criminal Justice heads that up, and we got the Roof Seal, as always, Peter Gregory.
Roof Seal and the King.
Never forget.
For now.
Never forget. So Peter Gregory's put on the crown as the reigning quiz champion. 1 point on for correct answers, 1 point off for incorrect answers. Buzzer is your first name. I think we're all familiar with the rules. If anyone needs to go. All right. Now, with Mayor Pete and Amy Klobuchar withdrawing from the Democratic race, who is now the youngest person?
Good question.
He's
jumped in.
I'm going to have a stab in the dark here. I'm going to have to say Mini Mike Bloomberg.
Mini Mike Bloomberg is not the youngest person still in the Democratic field. Bushnell.
Yeah, so who we got?
Well, technically, Buzzer is your first
Warren.
name.
It's not Elizabeth Warren. Roof.
Sanders.
Okay, you're all wrong because technically Tulsi Gabbard is still running.
That's a trick question.
That is a trick question and you fell right into it.
You dropped out, Tulsi.
This is Russian propaganda. Leaving her on the list.
What? I thought you said at the start then, I didn't think you said Mayor Pete. I thought you said me and Pete.
Me
and I
and
was
Pete.
like, I did not realise.
No, we're still running. We're still running.
Yeah, we won't
and we
give
are
up.
looking good in Washington State.
Yeah,
now,
big there.
who of the people not named Tulsi Gabbard is the youngest person in the Democratic race?
Bushnell.
Bushnell.
It is Elizabeth
It
Warren.
is Elizabeth Warren, who is 70 years old. This picture of youth herself. Sorry.
And she lost her own state today.
It's not looking good for her. Yeah, we are recording this on Wednesday, so if Elizabeth Warren has dropped out and Tulsi Gabbard has dropped out by the time you hear this podcast, I'm still correct.
Yeah.
Tulsi
So just know I'm still correct. All right, question 3. When was all right? So I reckon we're heading towards a contested convention or brokered convention, if you will. When was the last time that that happened? Either party.
You said this on the show.
I'm going to guess again and say the Democrats in 1972.
It is incorrect. Does anyone else want to make a stab?
What was that one where they bashed all the protesters outside?
I shouldn't say.
It's
people would laugh at that.
in the 60s. Yeah, because we're trying to get it right.
No, I was
that
saying
hilarious
I
thing of
believe
protesters
that
being
one.
bashed in the street.
I don't know who it is, James.
All right, does anyone want to make a guess? No. All right, so it's the Democrats back in 1952.
Oh, I think you said that on the show the other week.
Yeah, well,
I just sort of wait for my turn to speak.
exactly. You don't listen.
Wasn't quite-
You're just about yourself. All right. Sorry, everyone is in the negatives right now. No, Bushnell's on 0. Pete's on -1.
Yes,
Gideon's
winning
on
on
-2.
0.
There you
Okay,
go.
according to the Australian on
I used to be the
Tuesday.
quiz champion once upon a time. What's happened? Had a mighty fallen.
I think you said loaded at the top of the show.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
only
Hey,
been
Pete
so much.
was the loaded one,
At
not
the top of
me.
the segment.
Yeah. All
I
right.
wish I was.
So, according to the Australian on Tuesday, how many immigration detainees have said they should be released into Australia on grounds
Gideon.
of indigeneity?
22.
Off by war.
Roof.
No.
I know it's 23 because it's Shane Warne's number.
there
And Buddy Franklin and Jamie Carragher.
Gideon
And Michael
going
Jordan,
for the
Getting worse and
Gideon
worse.
going for the lowest number.
This is what happens when you chase your losses.
Okay, now
They can't run forever.
So it's 23. Now, how many members of Iran's parliament have tested positive for coronavirus?
A lot.
That's a...
Closest to the mark. How about closest to the mark?
Yeah, I love those
Closest
ones.
to the
Can't
mark.
get them wrong.
Can't get them wrong.
I
You
like
can
that
get them wrong.
they make the rules up as you go. It's too close to the mark.
Yeah,
He
well,
loves the power.
I do.
So 4 for
Makes
me.
me happy.
Give me
4?
How about 20?
20.
15.
15. Bushnell gets it. It's 23 as well. 23 members.
Because it was like one a couple
Where
of
was
weeks ago.
Shane Warne on that
Well,
one?
that's good.
What do you let me down for the first time ever?
All right. It is 23. So, yeah, the Deputy Health Minister was the other one, and then he's probably infected these 23 people. Now, Generation Liberty is hosting the upcoming tour of Gloria Alvarez. Get your tickets now. Can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
What country was she born in?
Oh, well, that's...
Gideon.
Jeez,
Bolivia?
Gideon is absolutely hemorrhaging here. No, it's incorrect.
Bushy.
It's incorrect, Gideon.
I know. I'm marveling at my own stupidity.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I thought that was like
it doesn't happen very often, but when it does,
It threw me off
boy,
though.
I do not
I was
disappoint.
like, I chimed in, rung in to answer, and I was like, wait, was that right? That wasn't right.
No, I'm gaslighting.
Right.
But
no,
if I
because
pretend like I'm right,
she is from Central America,
Roof,
so
roof.
it is.
Need a country.
I'd already rung in.
Yep.
So
we're zeroing in on it.
Back off.
So,
Pete.
so I'm explaining. I'm doing the whole
Yeah.
Eddie Maguire Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing. No, but it's El Salvador.
It is not El Salvador.
Oh.
Roof, roof, Guatemala.
It is Guatemala.
Wow.
Peter Gregory. All right, Pete is
I
on
was
2.
close.
Bushnell is on
What did I think
-1. And Gideon
I've lost
on
it.
-4. Anyone still can win, I reckon.
Yeah.
Hard for Gideon. Hard for Gideon.
This
I'll
has
say
been.
it.
This is.
But
You
anyone
Sure,
can
would
I'm
win.
have to
hard for
say that
Gideon.
this has not been the highest quality quiz.
It's been
in the history
energetic,
of the
though.
Young Lions.
A lot of mentions for Shane Warne.
It's good audio, and Shane Warne, whoever's doing PR for Shane Warne's pretty happy with how this has all turned out.
Warnie.
Right. What infrastructure project was ruled unlawful in the UK on environmental
Gideon.
grounds?
Oh,
Gideon.
Something to do with Heathrow. Another runway on Heathrow.
Another runway on Heathrow.
got
I'll
one.
pay it. Gideon's
Not
finally
just
got one.
environmental grounds, though.
Go ahead.
Specifically climate change,
Yeah.
Yes.
which is worse. Like heaps of stuff gets banned for.
Environmental grounds.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But yeah.
They're not even protecting, actual animals like the endangered squig or whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's
the
like,
squigs.
some imaginary problem they're protecting against.
That's
All
right.
right.
All right, there we go. All right, so AAP has announced that it is closing down in June this year. When was it started?
Gideon. 1935.
That is correct.
How did you know that?
Is
Because
on
I spent half my working day on Twitter, and that's all that was on Twitter yesterday, which
a
is
lot of
Save
journalists.
AAP, the hashtag Save AAP, which is a serious issue, I might add, and the risk of editorialising during the quiz, which you've topped me
Go
off for
ahead.
doing in the past. But these journalists who are mourning the Australian Associated Press for good reason were not willing to say, well, maybe it's because we have a $1.1 billion media behemoth in this country giving away content for free.
Yeah.
So if you want to save AAP, sell off the ABC.
Yeah,
I endorse this message.
Exactly.
right.
Like I was doing some research for the show. Actually, this is going to give away a quiz question, so I'm going to come back to that anecdote.
I just want to clarify for any donors out there, Gideon doesn't spend half his life on Twitter.
No.
Half
It's
his
more
life is
3/4.
About a third. About a third.
All right.
On a slow day.
Now, who was the host of Media Watch before Paul Barry?
Oh, now I have seen this bloke's footage,
Haven't we all?
Gideon.
but I don't know who
Was
it
it
is.
Jonathan Holmes?
It was Jonathan Holmes.
very
Gideon is on fire. Now,
I'm incy-wincy
now I'm
spiraling my
in
way
the-
back up.
Now,
I'm at the
I was going to mention, so Jonathan Holmes has this new book out, and Paul Barry was talking to him, and they're both saying like, "Oh, there's now these 3 giants of media, and how do we stop this like conglomeration of the left?" And it's like, yeah, the ABC is the reason like 9 buys Fairfax and they can't get any money is because there's like the ABC handing out content for free. Anyway,
Correct.
my point.
Frankly, especially if you work at the 9 entertainment papers or whatever, I mean, why would anybody pay for a subscription to a newspaper when the ABC gives away analogous content for free? I don't know.
All right, so now to the Who Am I? Quick score check. Gideon on -1, Pete's on 2, Bushnell's on -1. Anyone can win.
Ooh.
Gideon, what a comeback, by the way, at the end of that quiz.
This is
You
a
can
Joe
call me
Biden.
Sleepy
This is
Joe.
the Joe
Yeah,
Biden.
yeah, this is Joe Mentum.
Joe Rosnamentum, the Rosnolution.
Yeah,
is coming.
Rosmentum. Now, for 5 points, I was born 173 years ago, 173 years ago this Wednesday.
You always do this. We always have to mentally work out.
Yep.
1847.
What's... It is?
1847.
Oh, thank you.
There we go.
But I don't know who it is, James. What'd you say again? 173.
Yeah, I was just doing the maths.
1847. Okay.
All right, does anyone want to make a guess? All right, for 4 points, my work with the deaf is what inspired my life's work.
Say that again.
Deaf. Worked a lot with deaf people, and what you know me for comes from that.
Did you say died in 1847?
I said born.
Oh, yeah.
I said born in
Did ya?
1847.
Because I have a bit of a... Nah, I don't think so. I've got a bit of an inkling, but I think it might be someone...
Actually, I have no.
All right, there we go. I think unless anyone jumps in right now, they can only tie it with Pete. No.
Yeah.
All right, so for 3 points, I was influential in the early days of National Geographic.
I was wrong with my initial thought.
Who the hell would this be?
Is this person even
Curveball.
famous?
This person's very famous.
Some bloke
deaf.
bloke that worked at National Geo.
This is famous for one very specific thing, so you just don't want to tell that at the 4 point thing.
I think I might know who it is.
All right, come on, Pete.
No, I don't. I mean, nah, it's all right. Keep coming.
You're all good?
Yep.
All right, does anyone else want to jump in?
Work with
Born in 1847.
Born in 1847.
I might write
Not
that down,
died.
so I don't think-
Just write it down. Get a tattoo.
Yeah.
Born in 1847.
Nah, no idea, mate.
Now, 2 points. I'm an inventor and a scientist.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, you
I mean,
reckon?
I suspect I know what the bloke did.
Roof,
or-
roof.
Roof.
Marie Curie.
No.
Oh,
I wouldn't
Point
know
off
the
for
bloke's
Pete.
name.
I think that really puts a curveball in that anyone can tie it up if they get it right now and bring us to its high breaker.
So born in 1847.
Born in 1847. Worked with the deaf.
Worked with the deaf. And at National Geographic.
And at National Geographic.
And
is an inventor and a scientist.
And famous enough to
famous.
Your peak inventing years were like 35, so you're talking about like inventions that maybe took place in like about 18.
Are they your peak inventing years?
Well, I don't know.
I think
I'm not inventing much. I'm 35.
Yeah. Well, your peak might be shallower than others.
I think you don't want to peak too early. Like I'm aiming for my.
You'd hope not.
Your best days are ahead of you.
This is. I can't even think of a single name that.
This will get
it
away. For 1 point, I invented the telephone.
Oh, Gideon. Alexander Graham Bell.
Gets it.
Graham hyphen Bell, I should say.
No, not true though. Didn't some Italian guy invent it? Let's get
Guglielmo Marconi.
Yeah, let's get the.
Oh, controversy.
Right. This is controversial.
So wait, does that mean that the roof seal
we need some Italian nationalists to ring in.
Surely the man that invented the telephone was Alexander Graham Bell, or
no,
the education system has absolutely let me down.
There is no. You're right. There's like some sort of controversy around this though.
Yeah, because he also came up with ahoy hoy.
Yeah,
he genuinely thought people would answer the phone ahoy hoy instead of saying hello.
Did he really?
One of my favourite fun facts in history.
Is that true?
Yeah, I tried to put it in there. I was like, ahoy hoy.
Is that where Mr. Burns or
it is literally where they got that from.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Well, give Bushnell a bonus point and I still win.
Yeah. Okay, you get 2 ahoy hoys for that last one, but Peter Gregory is still the reigning champion. And we got more show for you coming up after this. Congratulations, Peter Gregory. Once more, the reigning quiz champion.
I actually don't know how many in a row that is.
I think it's 2, because Gideon went on that unprecedented 5 or 6 in a row. It might be more than 2.
I think it's 3, but we'll check.
Oh, because you won in Gideon's absence and then beat Gideon, and now you've won again. So that is 3.
Yep.
Well done. Let us get into some stories, and we want to start with this Q&A clap, Peter.
Everyone's favourite segment, the Q&A clap, James. It's the first segment. Probably still the best
the
thing you've
OG
ever
segment.
That's right. Probably still the best thing you've ever done. So Q&A clap. We started right back at the start. It's about how people say stupid, meaningless things on Q&A and they get a big old clap for it. So we've got a doozy this week. Finance Minister Matthias Cormann, a doozy. You heard it. I said it.
How is Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, this is a good one. Finance Minister Matthias Cormann in Senate Finance and Public Administration Legislation Committee said this earlier this week.
Question is to you, Minister. My Comcar driver told me the other day that the colour of the cars was chosen by you personally. Is that a true rumour that's circulating?
I take responsibility for that. Yes, I think that it's my judgment. The white colour, sort of in my mind, reflects a bit of a colonial past that we've moved on from, and I think the colour chosen for the Comcars is a better reflection of a modern, forward-looking Australia.
James, is he serious?
I'm hesitant to bite on this one.
First of all,
Q&A clap. Q&A clap.
Can I just... Okay. Thank you.
Even the Q&A audience is a bit blindsided by that one. But, so is he serious?
Yeah.
I am so hesitant to bite on this because I genuinely don't think anyone could possibly form that opinion and achieve one of the highest offices in the land.
If he did, because I'm not sure if it's serious either, if he has said that.
Because even the person that asked the question was a bit like...
And she was from the Greens, right? So she didn't she was just like, ooh. Okay.
Step aside.
That would be the ultimate brave stand.
Mm-hmm.
The stolen generation happened, but I made the cars not white anymore.
The cars are grey now, so it's all go.
Nothing to worry
all
about.
Good.
And when he said at the end, this represents modern Australia, it's like grey.
Grey represents the modern forward-thinking man?
Off-white.
Off-white.
Yeah, pearl.
The beige.
Stucco.
That's all I got for it.
That's all I got. No, that's
just okay, I'm putting a big question mark on that one to refer back to. Was he serious? We got a journalist to listen to this show. Someone asked him about that. I want follow-ups.
Yeah, exactly right. And also he was wearing a white shirt, so if he was serious.
Well, that's disgusting.
That is disgusting.
All right, so moving on to another one. Now, news stations rallying around the disadvantage is always just, it's the easiest win of a TV segment. You get someone who's gone through a bit of a rough time. News not only covers the story, they help him out.
So I have interviewed Grunt the Pig.
Grunt the Pig. Grunt the Pig is not a did go through some hard times. But when we talked to him, that was a healthy pick. Oprah's favourite things, very popular segment in the Oprah show. Australia has the cash cow on Sunrise. Here's what ABC 13 in Virginia. They found a story of a woman who'd lost a house and a sister in a fire, which is very grim. Very sad. So let's see what ABC 13 in Virginia decided to do about it. What did they give her? Saul, roll the tape.
Per day. that we have an umbrella, and I've never actually signed one of these before. You have your own ABC 13 umbrella.
Okay, thank
you. To you, bringing you sunshine on a rainy day.
That brings me faith back in the media.
You didn't tell me he signed it, James.
Oh, it's a signed umbrella. Don't be thinking it's just your regular ABC 13 umbrella. That is signed by the weatherman.
That is unbelievable. So, assuming there's been some backlash to that.
They deleted the tweet. To give them their time of day, the daughter did write in saying like, oh, one of the things she really misses was the umbrella. Yeah. So, maybe it is a good thing to give her, but you can't build a segment around it. Nah. It can't be the go-to.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. Especially when it's got like an ABC logo on it. So it's like a bit of free advertising.
Yeah, exactly.
In amongst the grief.
And his signature. So it's a bit of personal advertising as well.
Exactly right.
Remember who this was. Remember the guy that helped you out with your umbrella needs.
Yeah, so I just don't know how, at what point he realised this is bombing.
It went to TV. Went to TV.
So that wasn't live?
It wasn't live. It was part of a pre-recorded thing, and then they file it out and send it out.
Well, that's even more remarkable.
Yep, there we go.
Okay, so let's move on to Sleeping Giants. Okay, I hesitate to mention them because they really are just...
You really yelled that like an order. Like enough messing around.
Yeah, moving on from the ABC. So Sleeping Giants, right? I hate to mention them because they are literally just 13 old greenies with 30 accounts each. Mm-hmm. So for those who don't know, Sleeping Giants put pressure on companies to take up social justice issues or disassociate themselves with conservative or liberal figures.
So when you see like advertisers pull from Alan Jones's morning show, it's like 100% Sleeping Giants.
That's exactly right. That's
getting in their Twitter mentions.
And because corporate Australia are such gutless wonders these days, they just do it, or / just absolute massive lefties themselves. They just do it. So
I lean the first. If it's either or, I lean the first.
I reckon it's got to be a bit of both. Like the HR departments at these places and the social media departments at these places are very left wing.
Yeah, but then those suggestions have to be signed off by someone, and I think that's just like, well, done.
Yeah.
Moving on. Back to golf.
I just think that they run corporate Australia. Anyway, the Sleeping Giants tweeted out during the week, the politicization of social media is unfathomably dangerous. So that's an interesting statement. You hate to see that. Now, what they're referring to is an article about how Paul Singer, a major Republican donor, has purchased a big stake in Twitter and is potentially planning to get rid of Jack Dorsey, who's the chief executive. So it's like, oh, sorry, Sleeping Giants. Sorry. It must be difficult to not have everyone who runs social media a massive lefty.
Yes.
How difficult for you to deal with that. Secondly, your whole thing is that you're a political organisation.
Yes.
So am I missing something here, James?
You're not missing anything. I loved all the replies saying like, well, if Twitter turns into Facebook, then I'm just going to go. And it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Twitter's successful.
That's what you do. You use your choice. If you don't like people, what they tweet and what they watch, you don't do it. You don't watch it. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And like this politicization thing is like, do they not think social media is full of politics?
Exactly.
Yeah. Donald Trump,
and they're not making that the case.
Yeah. And then also, James, shame on us, I reckon, for not thinking of this earlier. We always complain about social media, how it's really left wing.
Yep.
Why did we never think of just the Koch brothers just buying...
I thought you were going to say you and me, because I was like, I'm good for $22 and a Fruit Loop.
Well, I don't know how much these platforms can be that expensive.
Well, considering he's a billionaire, he's probably a bit better off than I am.
Yeah, anyway, but so that's one to think about.
All right, there we go. All right, so last one we got today, Blue Momentum, it's on American Samoa, the king of American Samoa.
Yeah.
Mr. American Samoa himself.
They might secede. Bloomberg can be their god king.
I'd move. I would move there. I would take up the Ministry of Defence.
It's in the Pacific.
Now, Blue Momentum is on, and because of that, I'm hoping he stays in the race. God, I hope he stays in the race, because we have another week's worth of unforgettable clips. I want to start off with this one. This is him actually attempting to talk to humans in Texas. He's being, he's just walking around the streets. He's got a few reporters around him, and someone says like, just play the clip. I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
You spent a lot of time in Texas?
Tejas, we'd say here.
What'd you say?
Tejas.
Tejas.
That's Spanish for Texas.
Okay.
You're in a Cuban neighborhood, so you got to know your audience.
And then just stick around for this bit.
The street guys, don't get hit coming across. Your boss never get
An insufferable paternalist to the very end, telling a crowded field of grown adults to not cross the street without checking. The same guy that, will ban soft drinks everywhere. But the point is, Tejas.
I don't know if that's the people next to him. The other guys, they were like local reporters.
Yeah.
And they were like, the facial expressions were, that's not what we say.
Yeah, exactly. Like the reporter talking to him, who I'm assuming is from Texas herself, is just like, I must have misheard you.
Yeah.
There is no way even Michael Bloomberg could have possibly said the word Tejas in this conversation. I must have misheard.
Exactly right. And it's the ultimate in patronising mansplaining you could possibly imagine.
It's Spanish for Texas.
Well, actually.
Yeah. They don't call it Texas.
Yeah.
They call it Tejas.
No, so this is why we want Americans to mate with stuff like that.
And then, of course, you've also got another just unforgettable clip. This is him attempting to eat pizza. I apologize for people that are listening, but let me comment it. Saul, play the tape. This is him eating pizza. I mean, it's a height of coronavirus panic. People are panic buying. And Bloomberg is just like going ham on this pizza and licking his lips, getting everything, putting the hand back in.
Look at that.
You know what? Just I'll donate. I'll do whatever it is. I said that $22 in a Fruit Loop to buy Twitter. That's now going to the Bloomberg campaign. I need him still in the race for this content.
It is. I don't understand. As Zach Gorman said earlier today, why don't they teach politicians to eat properly before they go on the campaign trail?
Because then what would we do?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just what show would we run if politicians learn how to eat like human beings?
I don't know. We'd have to tackle some real issues, James. I think
that's not for me.
We'd have to do something else. But I mean, he sort of, he grabbed the crust and he ripped off part of the pizza.
He ripped off the worst part of the pizza.
Donald Trump Jr. said, clearly this guy's never worked in a communal office space before. He's never eaten a pizza before.
I don't think Donald Trump Jr. has ever worked in a communal office space before, to be perfectly fair.
Those in glass houses. But
yes.
he's never had a pizza before.
Yeah.
That's why he eats it like that.
Now, this also, I'm glad this came up because last week off air, you said something to me that I think needs to be addressed on air so everyone knows the person that they listen to every week.
Yeah.
So they get an idea of who the real Peter
I know
Gregory
where this is going.
Peter, you described to me what your favourite flavour of pizza is. Favourite topping of pizza is. Favourite topping of all of the ones to choose.
Yeah.
What is it?
Margarita.
See you guys next week.